everyone. We're so excited that you guys are here today. My name is Erica Gutierrez, and I serve as the Outreach and Engagement Manager for the Conductor. The Conductor is an entrepreneur support organization, and today we are at the UCA Makerspace. So the Makerspace is a really cool place that is open to the community and is free, so no cost, but we have really cool tools like a 3D printing machine, we have a CNC machine, laser engraving, and again, it's all open to the community at no cost like the Conductor. So I'm really excited to welcome today Ms. Regina
I was testing, sorry.
And Consulting. She began her business working out of a local coffee shop about 5 years ago, and has built it to include 4 coaches, consultants, and has served over hundreds of clients now. So please help me welcome her today.
Thank you guys so much for being here. I know that this week especially, it was a huge investment of energy and time and resources just to show up. If you are here in person, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your lunch. If you are here over the live stream, thank you so much. And if you're watching the recording later, thank you for that too. You really had to make a special investment in your time and mental energy to be here today. I totally get it, and I really appreciate it. I also want to say thank you to the Conductor for inviting me to come and speak, and for providing our community and the state of Arkansas with the fabulous resources that are free to startups and entrepreneurs. I have used many of them. If you have been nervous about using some of their resources or unsure if they're for you, let me just assure you that they will be helpful and they can help you whatever part of your journey that you are on. Now, today, I am going to be telling you a different kind of startup story. Maybe a kind of startup story that is unexpected and that you probably aren't, it's going to surprise you and you're like, is she really telling an entrepreneur startup story? Yes, I am. I have a very unique story, but one that I think will speak to each of your hearts and to your minds and to like your instinct about what it is really like to be a startup. I hope my message just resonates with you and sits with you, and that this story is something that helps it connect and brings it to your mind over and over and over again. Because when you're a startup, when you're an entrepreneur, you need those encouraging, meaningful messages that pop up just in the nick of time sometimes. So I'm going to show you what it has truly been like to be a startup and entrepreneur for me. And here is the message that I want you all to leave with. Every person in this room was created on purpose. You have unique gifts and abilities, and they are to be used to make a positive impact in the world. So what you need to do in order to do that is grow in confidence, make a choice, and then step forward in courage. Think about these 3 things as I'm talking to you today, and I really want you to listen for where they're happening in my story, and then let it sit in your heart for where it needs to happen in your startup story and entrepreneur story as well. So now on to my story. I'm going to take you way back in the time machine to the summer of 1994. I was 16. Please don't worry about math or anything like that. I went to Barbados on a mission trip. The adult leaders there, they must have seen something special in me, even when I was 16, because they put me in charge of Vacation Bible School and organizing and teaching all of the children there. It was in the breezy sunshine of that island that I discovered a gift emerging. I found it so easy and natural to connect with the children, get on their level, get their interest, and I loved it. The chaperones complimented me on those gifts that they saw kind of emerging, and let this be like a note in your head that you remember that positive words and affirmations to others, especially those that are younger and just stepping into themselves, man, they can make a world of difference. So when in doubt, speak up and give someone a positive affirmation and encouragement. So that just stuck with me. I knew from that moment that I wanted to be a teacher. I graduated high school. I went to the University of Florida, go Gators, got my degree in elementary education, and I stepped right into a teaching career after that. I loved it. I thought it was challenging, fulfilling, something new to do every day. You guys, I can totally geek out on lesson planning, on how to arrange children in cooperative learning groups so that they get optimal learning. And I know the cutest grammar songs that you've ever heard. I was just like living my best life being a teacher. I loved it, and I was totally in my element. My confidence, it just soared. I was like, this is what I was made for. This is the life. This is wonderful. So we all live in the real world, right? We know that can't last very long. It was about 5 years into my teaching career when my confidence took a hit. And it literally shattered. Pieces all over the floor. Pieces. Has that happened to anyone here? Anyone felt like, yeah, I'm good for this, I'm made for this, and then, bam, it's like you're knocked out on the floor. That happened to me. We moved from Austin, Texas to Tampa, Florida. You're going to hear moving as a recurring theme in our story. And I was teaching at a private school. For that year, which felt like one of the longest years in my life, felt longer than COVID, if you can even believe that. I'm giving you a real good mental image here, right, of how hard it was. I was teaching at a school. It was not a good fit for me. I thought it might be, but I was wrong. The teachers that were on my team that I worked with every day, we did not gel. I tried real hard, we did not get along. The teachers in the other grade levels, I thought, well, maybe I can find a connection there. Nope, didn't get along with a single one of them either. And the fourth graders, guess what? They don't like cute little grammar songs. So I didn't get along with them either. I mean, this many years later, I can laugh about it. I didn't laugh about it then. I cried about it. Just about every day, coming home from work, I cried. I even cried in front of my father-in-law about it a few times, if that will tell you anything. My heart was broken. My confidence was shattered. After that year of teaching, I finished it out. But then I was like, nope, I'm never doing that again. I was determined. And some of you know, like, ooh, this Lena's determined, watch out. I was not going to, Mike is laughing, my husband, he's like, I was not going to go back into teaching. I was like, square peg in a round hole. I totally felt like trash, and all of that confidence was shattered on the floor. I was pretty convinced it was never going to come back. I thought I was done. So I did what any good and reasonable person does when faced with pain. I avoided it. I went the other direction. We moved again. Mike took a job as a church pastor. I became a stay-at-home mom for a while because staying at home with the toddler all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is a great place to avoid pain, right? It was a blessing, and I enjoyed that time, and it was a time of healing for me, but I couldn't do that forever. I wasn't going to be let off the hook forever. Plus, the stay-at-home mom gig is not for me. I was bored. I was stir crazy. I just was not being my best self. Plus, it just wasn't who I was created to be, right? I mean, I'm created to be a mom. I'm a fantastic mom. But stay-at-home mom? No. After about a year of that, it was time for me to go back to work. We needed the extra income. Becca was old enough to attend preschool. And like I said, I was getting bored. Teaching was the obvious choice for me. I mean, that's what I went to school for. That's all the experience I had. I used to be good at it. But I was still feeling like, no, that's not for me. Remember, I felt like a square peg in a round hole. I felt like trash. My teaching confidence was scattered in a million pieces on the floor. And I really didn't want to do all the work of putting it back together just to have it happen again. Are you kidding me? No. Mike, who is laughing again at me, I'm sure fair in the back, was very sweet, and he's like, come on, that was just 1 year. That's not who you are. I was like, yeah, right. I was not going in for that. We talked about this over and over and over again. You know those conversations you have with those people that really care about you and that they want you to like move past the obstacle, and you're just like, no, I don't feel like it. So you have this conversation over and over and over again. One day, I remember it so clearly. We were driving in the car. Becca must have been asleep. Hallelujah for the times when the kids sleep in the car. So we're driving in the car, and we were having this discussion again about, you should go back to teaching. No, I don't want to. All of that. And Mike turned the tables on me. And I'm the teacher, remember? He gave me an assignment. And it stopped us both in our tracks. First of all, I don't like people to tell me what to do. And which, by the way, is a wonderful and well-known and common attribute for entrepreneurs. Raise your hand if you are also an entrepreneur and you don't like people to tell you what to do. Yes, raise 2 hands if you want. Okay. See, common attributes. I'm among friends here. But it also stopped Mike in his tracks because he doesn't usually tell me what to do. But something made that come out of his mouth, and we were both like, what did you say? What did I say? And it sunk in like, oh gosh, he's right. Which, thank you for recording this. He's happy that this is on recording forever and ever. He was right, which I also don't like to say. And this was something that I needed to do. The essay was entitled, Why I Was Created to Be a Teacher. This reflective task was super hard. It made me pick up and examine all these little broken pieces on the floor, putting them together like a puzzle. And it made me go back and look at negative things that I did not like and remember I was trying to avoid. But through this really difficult exercise, I was able to put into words for myself those unique interests, skills, qualifications, experiences that made me a great teacher. Remembering my why, it restored my confidence. It built me up and actually made it stronger than it even was before. You're like, Selena, what does this have to do with startup or entrepreneurship? You guys, it has everything to do with it. When you are a startup and an entrepreneur, you have to remember your why. This is essential. As an entrepreneur, you are going to receive hit after hit after hit to your confidence, quite frankly, sometimes you will feel like a punching bag, and you will look like one too. How are you going to continue with your work after receiving that kind of a beating? You've got to remember your why. It is your key to growing in confidence, then making a choice, and stepping forward in courage. Your why is like the heart of you. So with this exercise, I built my confidence back as a teacher. And this was especially clear when I took that essay, put it on top of my resume, and turned it in and got a job at Dream Lake Elementary. Funny name, right? And man, that was a blessing. And then it was a great fit for me. It was a great fit for me. I'd like to point out here, because I am a coach, that is my business now, the coaching work that was happening here. I know you're really waiting patiently for me to get to this coaching part of my startup story. So coaching is building a bridge. It's building a bridge from where you are now to that place that you want to go in the future. As coaches, as a coach, I do this by walking beside my client, helping them paint a picture of what that future looks like, and then we co-create the plan so we can walk together alongside of that and how to get there. I had a vision when I was fighting it. I had a vision of what teaching would be in my future, but because my confidence was shattered all over the floor, I had no idea how to get from where I was. It was a giant chasm that I had to cross to that vision of what a successful teacher and mom and person looks like. Growing in confidence were the building materials that I needed. It was like growing in confidence was the scaffolding that put that bridge together so I could walk across it to that successful vision. And I was able to do it. I'd like you to take a moment right now to think about your own situation, wherever you are in your startup entrepreneur life journey. Where are you in that journey right now? Just kind of take stock of that. What are you picturing ahead of you in the future? I see some faces that are thinking about that. What building materials do you need to build your bridge? What scaffolding is going to help support you across the gap? And this is really key too. Who do you have in your corner? I'm blessed with lots of people in my corner. I'm telling you about this, my husband, and this story, but there's been countless others. You are too. Who are those people that are willing to kind of walk with you as you build this sometimes rickety looking bridge across to your future? So, now we're going to get to the part where small business becomes part of my story. And I hope that you're seeing why I had to start way back here with this whole confidence building piece. So you remember that determination I had to avoid teaching? Well, it caused me to stumble into a wonderful and life-changing opportunity. I started selling Premier Designs jewelry, an MLM or direct sales company that is no longer in business now. But this really important part built my second bridge to confidence. I learned volumes of lessons, which I still use today. Now, a lot of you are coming in here and you already have preconceived notions about MLM or direct sales, good or bad, whatever. it doesn't matter. Just leave those to the side because I want you to hear how this experience really was part of my startup story and what was helping me grow into where I am now. Okay? Remember how I was feeling. Confidence broken all over the floor. And I could not vision a way for it to be healed and brought back together and then to get me back on a healthy path rather than an avoiding path. So I spent 10 years with Premier Designs Jewelry. I healed and I learned 2 significant lessons that are vital to startup and to entrepreneurship. The first one, I learned the tools for building a small business. I learned about marketing, presenting, goal setting, sales calls and presentations, leadership development, so much more. Like lists and lists of information that I learned. And I had a support team of a home office company and all the other representatives that were doing this with me. Man, that was so good for someone whose confidence had been shattered, right? I realized when I finally did go solo and start my coaching business, I was like, wow, I use these skills every day. Thank goodness that I got some training before doing that and how to do all of that stuff because it is a lot. The second lesson I learned was growing in confidence. This is really key because this is where I grew in confidence in myself outside of teaching. As it turns out, my skills are helpful for adults and not just 8-year-olds. And I can do more than just show people where to sit and sing cute grammar songs. It was a surprise even to myself. I was developing confidence in myself as a person rather than confidence in myself as a role. Let that sink in for a minute. As an entrepreneur, as a startup, yes, you are excellent in your craft, and I bet you're confident in it, which is why you think that you want to start a business. But are you confident in yourself outside of that? There's a whole different level of confidence required for a job versus confidence for a business owner. If you aren't working out in your job, you go find another one. I'm not going to say that's easy or it doesn't hurt your feelings or it's not hard on your family, but you go find another one. If you are in your business and that doesn't work out, you take a personal hit. You may be ruining many aspects of your life. People have gone bankrupt, marriages have ended, families have broken up, all over a business falling apart. It's a big deal when you start a business. Remember that whole punching bag illustration? Like, you're getting it a lot. That whole line, it's business. It's not personal. As a business owner, that feels like a flat out lie. Lots of nods going on. Yeah. You do need to learn the phrase, it's not all about you. Yes. But a startup takes a whole new level of confidence. It's confidence in your whole self. Startup level energy, y'all, is all encompassing. It does not matter the size of your startup. Startup level energy is all encompassing. Before my work with Premier Designs, it never occurred to me that the skills and confidence I developed in teaching could impact other areas of my life and impact other people's lives significantly. I'm not doing that business anymore. I didn't reach the top of the company. I didn't make millions. I didn't get a free trip. None of that. But I would not change my experience with Premier for anything. And my first coaching clients came from Premier and are sitting right here in this room. Thank you. Here is what I really, really want you to hear. Nothing is wasted in entrepreneurship. All the experiences that you have had to this point can and will be used in your startup. It's like a whole toolkit that you've got access to. And where you start with entrepreneurship very likely will not be where you end up. It is common, and it might be even wise, to start with a low-risk option like an MLM or a business out of your home or a business on the side. It's a safer space to learn those skills that are necessary to be a startup and to begin to develop the level of confidence necessary to branch out completely on your own. The level of confidence needed to ignore the judgments from others because they will judge. So I encourage you, grow in confidence, make a choice, and then step forward in courage. Oh, it takes so much courage. Yeah. So in the fall of 2016, some interesting things were happening in our lives. We just ended our first year here in Conway, Arkansas, and we love this place, by the way. Mike was settling into his new position. The kids were making friends and enjoying school. Imagine that. My jewelry business, it did make a successful transition from Florida to Arkansas. And by this time, all of the energy that we've been putting into Mike's career and helping the kids get settled into a new place, it all had come to fruition, really, and found a landing place. I just explained to you how my confidence as a person had been grown and healed and mended. It was time for me to make a choice and step forward in courage. And so I started my own coaching business. It's scary. It's scary. I would like to make a point here, a couple points. One, startup level commitment, I told you it's all encompassing. So it does require a level of commitment from your whole family. You want to do your best to make sure that your family is in a position to handle that level of commitment that you're going to have to be putting into there, because you're going to put your whole being into it. Another side note that I'd like to make. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail today about how I chose coaching as the business I was going to start, but just know a couple things. One, I did go through a specific process, and two, I've gone through that specific process with several of my clients, and I have a tool that's called the Startup Start Over tool. If you would like access to that, just send me an email. I'll show you my email at the end here, and I will give you that tool for free. So you'll want to be sure to email me if you aren't sure about what your startup is, or if you know somebody who might need a little bit of direction. Super helpful. Okay. Now, it's been 5 years since my startup. My family is so enriched. Lives have been changed through my business. I am continuing to grow and develop and reach new people with the message that you can live in harmony with your faith and your family and your career. You guys, I love being an entrepreneur. I thought I was made to be a teacher, but really I'm made to be an entrepreneur. It is the best job ever. For me, Being an entrepreneur, it means you never stop growing in confidence. You never stop feeling like a startup. You don't just need confidence once, and then you're done. Preach. We need it over and over and over again every time that we want to reach a new level of growth or a new level of development. Here's what it has looked like for me over the last several years. One, marketing with my skills and my voice. I was taught how to market for a company, but let me just tell you, it's one thing to say, hey, look at this beautiful necklace and all of its features, and isn't it lovely? And quite another thing to say, hello, I'm Selena, and I can take you on a life-altering journey. Next, creating groups to share my coaching message with more people. I started off coaching just one-on-one with people, and then I tried to grow it into groups, and as several of you in here can testify, the first couple of tries failed. But had to grow in confidence to keep going. Man, it's been worth it for sure. Next, 2 years ago, COVID made me take my in-person business completely online. Can I just tell you a side note, I'm a people person, not a technology person. I had to learn how to do live videos, online marketing, run a Zoom room, and make people in there feel as comfortable with me over a camera as they do in person. That took a whole big level of confidence. And now, I'm adding coaches to my team, and I'm training them in the coaching methods that I've gotten confident in using with my clients. It's miraculous. It's miraculous. As a small business owner and entrepreneur, one of the ways that we are called to make a positive impact with the world is through business. Are you sitting here currently in business and you need some motivation to reach the next level? Or maybe you're stuck because you're thinking, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to make that move. Or maybe you've got a business idea and you can't wait to get it off the ground. To move forward in entrepreneurship, you never stop being a startup. You never stop needing to grow in confidence, make a choice, and step forward in courage. It is the most fun and rewarding journey ever, ever, ever. Thank you all so much for coming to my startup story today. I would love to ask you to please follow me on Facebook at Impact Life Coaching. Follow me on Instagram at Coach_Selena. I'd love for you to check out the websites, which y'all, that takes a whole level of confidence to make a website on WordPress. No cutting pasting here. All right. And then email CoachSelena@iCloud.com. And remember, I'll give you that free coaching tool, that free assessment tool if you'd like it there. Thank you so much again for having me.
Awesome. Well, we'll open it up to some questions, and we probably have about 10 minutes for that. So.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back for you to be brave enough to step out there and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to create an LLC or whatever organizational thing you did through the government to, what finally made you do it?
When I first decided to be a coach, okay, I did not create my LLC until a year ago when I decided to add coaches to my team. Just because you want to start a business does not mean you have to get legal right away. Like I said before, you can start small. And what I would say at that point in my decision, it wasn't necessarily a straw that broke the camel's back. It was more of a, like it was a time I was feeling settled and fine, but maybe a little bit bored with where I was and wanting a little bit more of a challenge and the next thing that would help my family and me grow. And so I would say that. And also, when I started my coaching business, it took confidence, but I didn't jump out and announce to the entire world. Again, I started small. I think that is a common misconception with startups and entrepreneurs. I have to open this giant business to the whole world and have all my social media up and have my website ready and have the LLC and talk to the lawyers and. Start where you are and see what step you can make to move forward. Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks, Adam.
Do you have any books that you recommend someone who's interested in starting a business or getting into coaching? Like, are there any books or resources that you can recommend?
Recommending books is one of my favorite hobbies. So my favorite book for a woman as a startup is Christy Wright, Business Boutique, How to Make Money Doing What You Love. It helps to meet a lot of those actually confidence bumps that women in particular meet along the way. Simon Sinek's Start With Why. That's a great one that will help you get really clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it and get real clear on your vision of where you want to go. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. How did you combat doubts and negative thoughts as you were starting and growing your business?
How did I what?
I'm sorry, combat doubts and negative thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Okay. First thing, I had doubts and negative thoughts. Second thing, I had more doubts and negative thoughts. Third, I would say I, again, leaned into that why of what was the reason that I wanted to push through the doubts and negative thoughts. I got people around me that believed in me sometimes more than I believed in myself. And I listened to them and leaned on them quite a lot. I think it's a really good idea to say to that trusted person, oh my gosh, I'm really nervous about this, so that they can help you see your gaps and also walk with you. Also, again, starting small for me was big. And then a couple really practical things. One, as soon as you can start charging and making money, nothing makes you feel more confident like a check. Oh, people will pay me for this. Yeah, okay. And the other thing, at the end of working with a client, I always ask them, what was helpful to you about this? And that builds my confidence because they say out loud, oh, I learned this and this and this. And it's great for my client too because they're like listing all these wonderful things that they learned and realizations they came to. But that's a confidence builder for me to say, oh, it worked. Thank goodness. So find the ways in your business that you can make money doing what you're doing and make it fast. I don't mean make millions fast, but as soon as you can in your startup, get money coming in because it will build your confidence. And ask your clients for testimonials. That helps. Your mom can tell you you're great all day long. But when you get money and client testimonials, that's even better. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have one more. Do you have any big announcements or anything, growth or expansion, or you just keeping rocking on the way you are, adding more coaches as they come?
That is the latest new thing that I am doing to grow in confidence, is adding coaches to my team. It's something that I could have never done before because I didn't have the confidence in what I was doing. But I tell you, when you add people to your team, you have to be real sure about what you're doing because you have to be sure enough to show them and tell them, like, when they don't do it exactly how you imagined, to then correct them because you're like, well, I know that I designed this on purpose. And the other thing, it took like 5 million gallons of confidence to come and talk to you today. I could teach you about lots of things with only 1 gallon of confidence, but it took 5 million gallons of confidence to tell you my story. So this was huge for me. So thank you again.